What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks. Today the Ultra League and Ultra League Remix are dropping in Go Battle League, and in today's video we're going to be talking about some of the top performers as well as some team comp ideas, and then you'll see some practice battles that I did on Twitch with viewers testing out 3 different teams, which you'll see towards the end of this video. So Ultra Remix, very similar to Great League Remix, where the top 20 most used Pokemon are going to be banned in the cup. But here's the problem with Ultra Remix. If you look at this list of the top 20 most used Pokemon that are now banned, a lot of the Pokemon in here can be considered budget options for Ultra League. You have a lot of starter Pokemon in here. Venusaur, Swampert, Charizard, Empoleon. Not having access to those starter Pokemon in this format means that, as we will see once we head over to the rankings, XL Pokemon are absolutely going to dominate in this league. So for those of you that might not have the resources or the access to some of these top performing XL Pokemon, it might be good to play Open Ultra for these 2 weeks. But let's jump in and see some of the top performing Pokemon in this cup. Alright, here we are on PvPoke's rankings list for Ultra League Remix, and oh my gosh, look at this. Just XL Pokemon everywhere, which is, you know, this is kind of how it's going to be. Can you play this league without XL Pokemon? Potentially, yes, because there are some legendaries that are still rated fairly high. Very interestingly enough, Regirock is at number 5 here. Going to be able to beat Jellicent in the 1 shield. You have play against Drifloon, Alolan Ninetales, Giratina Origin. Giratina Origin is another one of those legendary Pokemon that you could consider running. And the legendary Pokemon in Ultra League are actually not that big of a dust investment compared to Master League, because you don't really have to power them up nearly as much as you do some of these Pokemon in the Master League. But so Regirock, Giratina Origin, Shadow Machamp, non-XL Pokemon, still performing very well in this format as well, and we will see a team comp running Shadow Machamp towards the end of this video. Same with Regice, very interesting that it's on here. Gengar, solid performer, no XLs required, and Snorlax. Shadow Snorlax, once again, rated slightly higher than normal Snorlax, potentially trying to hit a lick breakpoint, a lick damage breakpoint in some of these matchups. But a lot of XL Pokemon here. G-Fisk is going to be everywhere. Defense Deoxys, now that we've had it in raids for a short period of time, people really stocked up on XLs knowing that Defense Deoxys was going to be a really solid option. But there are pretty straightforward ways to counter this as well. A lot of the ghost types are really going to be shutting down Defense Deoxys. Jellicent is up here. We know Jellicent is a powerhouse not only in Great League but in Ultra League Premier, so it makes sense that it's going to be a top performer as well in the Remix Cup. But I would encourage you all to go over to PvPoke, head to the Ultra League Remix rankings, and see for yourself what some of these top performers are. Steelix actually going to have a lot of play. Dragon Tail hidden for some good damage. You have Crunch to hit for super effective against the Psychic and Ghost types, and then Earthquake as a nice nuke against the Steels. Because Obstagoon is banned, Scrafty is most likely going to be one of the top counter users. You obviously have Machamp as well, but Scrafty with that dark typing is really going to be able to threaten the Psychic and the Ghost types, as well as doing very well against the Steel types and anything else that the fighting damage hits for super effective against. The Dark types, the Ice types, the Rock types. So Scrafty, very, very solid pick if you have the resources to build one. Shadow Abomasnow we've seen before, and normal Abomasnow, XL Politoed. Mandibuzz, because Umbreon is banned, Mandibuzz is really going to have a lot of play. It does pretty much all the same things that Umbreon does, so you're going to still be able to have a powerhouse dark option there. But again, I encourage you to check this out. Armored Mewtwo also very, very interesting, and we will see a team comp using Armored Mewtwo after this, but very flexible for those of you that have been playing Go Battle League since Season 1, you know how powerful Armored Mewtwo is, because it used to be the #1 choice for Psychic types in Open Ultra League, and then Cresselia got Moonblast reworked and Cresselia outclassed it. But very flexible, either as a lead or on a safe swap. And so let's just jump into some battles, and I'll show you all 3 different team comps that you could possibly consider for Ultra League Remix. Alright, so this first team here, no XL Pokemon required, and no legendaries either actually. So we have Gengar in the lead, Snorlax on the swap. This is a non-Shadow Snorlax because I don't have a Shadow Snorlax built for Ultra quite yet, and Shadow Machamp in the back. The thought process behind this, Gengar is obviously going to be weak to the dark types. Snorlax has somewhat neutral play against a lot of the dark types, and Machamp is going to be your hard counter to those dark types, but Gengar really catches a decent amount of neutral leads in the lead position, and I actually do prefer running Sludge Bomb as a secondary charge move as opposed to double ghost move set of Punch and Shadow Ball, just to try to give you some coverage. Say you see a Mana Buzz in the lead, you at least want something to hit for neutrals, same with if you see a Scrafty in the lead. So we're going to jump right into these battles, and you'll see how this team performs a little bit. Sceptile, very interesting pick by my opponent here, running Bullet Seed, and I know this is going to be a Leaf Blade. Sceptile, very, very glassy, very spammy as well. It also has access to Aerial Ace, Dragon Claw, Earthquake, some decent coverage moves. We get some really nice lag here, but I land the Shadow Punch, and my opponent correctly called the bait. And so I get a shield there, which is good for me, but this Leaf Blade is actually potentially going to threaten taking me out. So I'm going to have to shield it. And this Sceptile is barely able to get to another Leaf Blade. This was actually pretty crazy that Sceptile can gain a shield advantage from Gengar. But I have a lot of energy stored on Gengar. One thing you will notice about this team is that it is fairly glassy running Gengar and Shadow Machamp on the same team. But sometimes the best defense is a good offense, right? So if you can be really careful with your energy management and get these Pokemon aligned where you need them to be, it's okay if you have a little bit of glassiness. So they bring out an Excadrill, and I really didn't want to get farmed down there, so I'm just going to bring out Snorlax to absorb this, and it's a Snarl Granbull in the back, which isn't even that bad for Machamp. Granbull has access to close combat and crunch, and most likely the close combat will be able to knock me out from this range. But it's going to drop the Granbull's defense, which will allow for some nice farm with my Machamp. I know they won't get to another move, so I'm able to counter it down. They bring out the Excadrill, and I go for a fancy catch here on my Gengar. Machamp would have survived a drill run regardless, but it was nice to be able to absorb that damage there. Good game. Gengar and a Scrafty. Really, really tough lead, right? But if you think about it, I'm hitting for single resisted damage with my fast moves of Shadow Claw. They're hitting for triple resisted damage. No, double resisted with their fighting moves because of my Ghost and... no, it's triple resisted. My bad. Triple resisted because Ghost double resist fighting. So I have good resistance in terms of the fast moves, and Sludge Bomb is able to hit for strong neutral damage. As long as I correctly shield up those foul plays like I did, I'm in a decent spot there. But I still have a very healthy Scrafty to deal with in the back, which is going to be tough. So my opponent throws Aqua Tail right away and does not allow me to get to another Shadow Punch. That's okay. Gonna bring out my Snorlax here, and I really need to get rid of this Dragalge before it gets to a big move of Outrage or Gunk Shot, whatever their nuke move is. So I know I'm gonna get hit by it right here. I know they still have a very healthy Scrafty, which my Machamp can handle. So I'm gonna throw this Body Slam. Most likely they're gonna come in with Scrafty and farm me down, so I'm looking to blind swap into my Machamp here. And it is a Jellicent in the back. This is not good for me at all. And my opponent actually plays this pretty silly. They're trying to BM me here, and so they're just going straight bubble beam and just continuously debuffing me here. But this game is actually pretty hilarious how this ends. So debuffing me a bunch, and then they try to catch a rock slide on Scrafty. So I build up as much energy as possible. I know this cross chop is going to knock out the Scrafty. My switch clock barely comes up. I'm able to clear my debuff. I'm getting some lick damage on this Jellicent and some nice body slam chip here. Even a little bit more lick damage. And now this Jellicent is in rock slide range. I win CMP and I have a rock slide stored. And so because my opponent was being silly there, I was able to still flip that around. But Scrafty lead is very, very tough, but having the sludge bomb there does help that matchup out a little bit. Alright, Drift Blim in the lead, and then they immediately switch into Snorlax. Keeping a counter user in the back is very, very nice, because we know that these normal types like Snorlax or Licky is also another option that you might see. Machamp is a very solid hard punish to that. So down goes the Snorlax. I have energy stored, and they're going to bring out the Drift Blim to go for a big farm as well. I'm just going straight for the Rock Slide. No sense in baiting because I'm only going to get to one move, and it actually lands, which is crazy. They actually end up having a G-Fisk in the back, so this is a little bit scary for me. I know that my Snorlax, both my remaining Pokemon still have a good amount of play against their remaining Pokemon, so I'm just going to throw a superpower right off the bat here. I get a shield, and then I'm just going to swap to clear my debuff and put on a lot of pressure with Gengar here. I no shield this because I anticipated them baiting me, and if they earthquaked me there, that would have been fine as well, because I would have been able to get to enough superpowers to knock out this thing. But now I'm just going to put on a lot of pressure with Shadow Punches. At this point in time, I'm going to shield up this Rock Slide, and I really want to burn their last shield so I can successfully connect with the superpower on my Snorlax. They shield that up, and then I'm able to get to another Shadow Punch here, and I'm recognizing that my switch clock is going to be coming up. I immediately swap, go for the Body Slam Snipe, and this should be just enough damage to take out the G-Fisk. And then I'll be able to lick down the Drift Blim here and take that game. So pretty fun team, no XLs. The next team we have here is Abomasnow Double Water, so Kingdra on the safe swap, and Blastoise in the back. Blastoise is kind of a fun pick here, and it performs surprisingly well in Ultra Remix. Water Gun does some nice chip damage, Hydro Cannon's a great move, and the Ice Beam coverage is very nice for like Giratinas or Mandibuzz or any grass type that you might see. And the Water Gun and Hydro Cannon pressure is very, very nice in this meta, so you'll see how to tough lead. So I'm just going to swap into the Kingdra here, and I did get the Octazooka debuff, which is nice, but they are going to farm me down. That's fine. I'm going to commit to the farm down with my Abomasnow now, because the energy here is very nice. Knowing that the G-Fisk is debuffed, I can pull off that farm. Now this matchup is very interesting to me, the Blastoise Deoxys defense matchup. Look at the water guns, the water gun damage compared to the counter damage of the Deoxys. The water gun damage is really adding up here. Obviously Blastoise does get slightly outpaced by the Deoxys, but my opponent actually has a Pangoro in the back, which is very glassy, and I know that it runs Night Slash. I was hoping that I would survive that, and I do. They bring out the G-Fisk, and I farm it all the way down, barely survive, have a lot of energy stored on my Blastoise. So I'm going to throw a Hydro Cannon. It does so much damage, and then at this point, I can pretty much just Powder Snow down this Pangoro and take this game. But Blastoise is fairly bulky. You have great moves. And I feel like it's actually going to perform fairly well in this Ultra Remix. And it's kind of a fun pick, kind of a unique pick that might be unexpected. Another G-Fisk in the lead. And whenever you're running an ABB style team like this, where you essentially have two water types in the back, in any sort of neutral lead, you still need to make a swap to your safe swap to try to bait out a grass type. My opponent switches into a Politoed here. And I knew this was probably going to be an Earthquake, but I don't want to have to shield this. And I know that Abomasnow walls this Politoed very, very well. So I'm going to come in and farm up a bunch here. Farm up almost to 100 energy. These Weather Balls are really not that threatening. The Mud Shots are doing pretty much nothing. And this Politoed is in Energy Ball range. And I want energy for when that G-Fist comes back in. I want to have some moves to threaten it. So I build up to 100 there. Force the CMP tie, and I know they're not going to shield. Down goes the Politoed. Most likely the G-Fist is going to come in again. It is. So I'm farming, and I went for the extra Powder Snow there. I will shield up this Rock Slide because I have so much energy. And I'm just going to go straight for Energy Ball again and see where they want to spend their shields. They do shield that. Obviously, if I baited there, I would have been in a better spot. I'm going for another Energy Ball here. And once again, if I would have baited there, also would have been in a better spot. So, but if the Energy Ball connected, it would have taken them out. So kind of a tough call. I store a Weather Ball, and then I went for a catch on the Rock Slide, but it did not work out. Look at this. Okay, XL Mandibuzz. I have access to Ice Beam though. And by the looks of the damage there, it will only take, 2 Ice Beams to knock out this Mandibuzz. And Blastoise is so bulky. Look at this. The Foul Play is really not doing that much. And I'm just going to continue building up here. I don't think Hydro Cannon would have been enough. So I'm committing to the Ice Beam here. I survived that Foul Play. And these Water Guns are really going to chunk the G-Fisk. Plus, I have a Weather Ball stored, so I'm just going to let this play out, but I'm able to Water Gun it down. Abomasnow would have won the CMP tie against G-Fisk regardless. Excadrill in the lead, very similar to a G-Fisk lead, only much glassier. So 2 Rock Slides will most likely knock out my Abomasnow from this Excadrill, whereas 2 Rock Slides from G-Fisk, not nearly as threatening. I get a shield advantage, and then I swap into Kingdra, and they respond with Snorlax. This is another fairly neutral matchup. Because they're down a shield, most likely they will not shield this Outrage, plus they know that they can survive it. And they do let it go through. That's good for me. Winning switch here would be very nice, because this allows me to get my Blastoise aligned with the Excadrill. I'm able to execute the full farm down there, which is very nice for me. If they bring out the Excadrill, they're going to win CMP and deny its energy, but they actually bring out Armored Mewtwo. So I'm just going to commit to the Outrage here. Armored Mewtwo, extremely bulky, so no need to shield that. And I don't want to get farmed down, so I'm just going to make a move back into my Abomasnow. If they bring out the Excadrill, which they do, this is totally fine by me, because I now know that Blastoise is my win condition and is going to be able to sweep the back line. Very nice counting by my opponent and good farm. I'm just going to let it go. I know Blastoise is going to clean this up here. So I was anticipating that a Drill Run would most likely do more damage than a Side Strike, just because Armored Mewtwo is way more defense weighted and Excadrill is much more attack weighted. So I let that move go through, farm down, out comes Mewtwo, and it looks like this was a CMP tie that Blastoise won. It was. So you'll see how much damage this Side Strike does. Very solid chunk. I'm going to transfer the confusion damage onto my Kingdra just to be fancy, and then Water Gun down the Mewtwo. Okay, final team of the video here, and I really like this team here. So XL G-Fisk, obviously, Armored Mewtwo, and Meganium. Meganium in the back. So Armored Mewtwo is typically going to be the safe swap here. Meganium is such a nice hard counter to the water types, and it's also a very good response to G-Fisk. My opponent brings out a Serperior here. This is a totally okay matchup for Armored Mewtwo. These confusions are chunking. Side Strike is a very strong move. I really should have shielded up this first move, because when you're using a bulky Pokemon, it is highly unlikely that your opponent is going to bait the first move. And now I have to stupidly shield a Leaf Tornado, which feels very bad. So I'm going to throw another Side Strike here, and because of that attack debuff, the Superior survives. I have to call that this is another Leaf Tornado, and it is, so I no shield, and I'm now double debuffed, and their Alolan Ninetales is going to get a huge farm. But that is okay, because winning switch here with Armored Mewtwo is actually very nice. This allows my G-Fisk to align with their A9, and it allows my Meganium to align with their G-Fisk. And I don't even think my Meganium is fully maxed out. Yeah, it's at 2472. It's just a hundo Meganium that I had laying around, and I didn't have enough XLs to power it all the way up to 2500. But I was very pleasantly surprised with how it was performing. This team is extremely bulky, and I feel like it has very good coverage as well. The Armored Mewtwo safe swap will most likely bait out things like Mandibuzz, like Skarmory, all things that Meganium really wants to avoid because you're totally walled by it, right? And then the G-Fisk is able to handle those. But Meganium, really good response to things like Jellicent, Politoed, G-Fisk. You have Earthquake to hit for neutral damage against like Giratina, and Frenzy Plant is just such a strong move, as we know, so really going to be able to hit for some solid neutral damage. Oh yeah, this was the game where my opponent threw 3 Weather Balls while I was continuously just stuck there, not able to throw a Rock Slide. There's some weird lag that took place in that battle, unfortunately, but good game to my opponent there. They definitely got me, and that lag was very unfortunate. Okay, Roserade lead is actually kind of rough for this team, so I'm just going to play it out. Build up to Earthquake on the first one, but just going to throw Rock Slide. And my opponent no shields it. If that was an Earthquake, it almost would have one-shot. So very gutsy no shield there. I'm just letting this go, and I'm going to be able to get to another Rock Slide here. Most likely they're going to shield. They do, and they allow me to get to another Rock Slide. This is huge. I don't want to get Bullet Seeded down, so I make a swap into Mewtwo to try to snipe this down with confusion damage. That's totally fine. This Roserade is now low enough that even my Meganium can handle it. I was fearful of a Leaf Storm there, so I shielded it up. Out comes Empoleon. Empoleon is actually not allowed in Ultra Remix, but my opponent must have forgotten that and brought out Empoleon. These were just practice battles, once again done on my Twitch stream, so maybe they forgot that Empoleon wasn't allowed. But Armored Mewtwo having access to Dynamic Punch is so clutch for those Dark types and Steel types like that. And it is a Kingdra in the back, so this is looking totally okay for me. Meganium just needs to get to 2 Frenzy Plants, and I'll be able to take this thing out. They tried to catch a move on their Roserade, but this is actually way worse for me because they had a Weather Ball stored, but I'm going to commit to the farm down. I now have 2 Frenzy stored. You're going to see Meganium tank and Outrage here, no problem. And I'll be able to get to these 2 Frenzies to knock out this Kingdra, and that will be a good game. I think we have one more battle in this video. As always, if you are appreciating the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I don't know what's been going on with YouTube lately, but I've been seeing multiple reports from people noticing that they're like no longer subscribed to my channel where they thought that they were subscribed. So just double check your subscription. YouTube might be going around and just unsubscribing you from particular channels, who knows. So make sure that you are in fact subscribed to the channel that you want to be subscribed to. But Armored Mewtwo into Gallade, that was a favorable matchup for me, so I'm able to flip switch advantage, which is always great. They bring out Scrafty, and it's actually a Snarl Scrafty. My opponent mentioned after this that they didn't realize that they had Snarl, but you definitely want counter as a fast move. They're forced to throw here because they're fearful of getting hit by another move, but Dynamic Punch from Mewtwo is threatening against that Scrafty. Armored Mewtwo is looking very, very nice in this meta. Going to bring out the Meganium because I don't want my G-Fisk to be aligned with the Scrafty. And I'm just going to throw these Frenzy Plants here. Because the Scrafty is running Snarl, it's just really not outputting any fast move damage, so I will commit a shield on that foul play. And gonna throw another Frenzy Plant and see where they want to spend their shield. In the back is a Shadow Machamp, so I go straight for this Frenzy Plant, and then most likely get the shield here, and I've done enough Vine Whip damage that this Machamp is now in Earthquake range. I get a Mud Shot through, that's good for me. Don't need to shield this first one, but I will shield one eventually, but I should be able to safely get to this Earthquake and take this game. Good game. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content. Best of luck with your Ultra League battles for these next 2 weeks, and I'll catch you all in the next video.